Hello, my name is Chester Lee, one of the assistant directors in Northeastern's off campus engagement and support office. Today, I'm going to be talking about how we assist students with the apartment search process. All of the information in today's presentation is also located on our website. You can also reach us via phone, email, or visiting us at Spear Hall. The apartment search process is just one of three areas where we help students during their off campus experience. We'll be talking about the renter's rights aspect and the engagement aspect in two future videos. As always, you can also book virtual appointments with us, and we've assembled an apartment search toolkit for your use. There is a lot to think about when searching for where to live off campus, whether it be price, location, distance to campus, transportation. It's often difficult to find a starting place. We've compiled kind of a checklist that we call the 4 Ps of the apartment search process to give you at least a starting point of what to consider, how to consider them when living off campus. The 4 Ps of the apartment search are price. Everybody knows about rent, but some people might not know about the other costs like utilities, if there's upfront moving costs, if you are working with a broker and have to pay a broker's fee. So you want to make sure that you know all the price aspects before kind of signing your first lease. People is an important aspect as well. First and foremost, you need to decide if you're living with roommates, if you're working with realtors, if your landlord has a good rating. The third P is paperwork, not just the leases, but the application, the addenda, apartment condition forms, also an important aspect. And the fourth P is protection, how to avoid getting scammed, making sure that your unit is safe and secure. One of the resources we provide to students is a map and description of all the neighborhoods around Northeastern. A lot of our students choose to live close to campus or within a T ride away, and these are the 6 neighborhoods that the students most often choose that exist around Northeastern. In addition, we gather rental data across lots of different neighborhoods, not just the 6 around Northeastern, about the average rental cost per person. As you can see, the per person costs for rent decreases as you have more roommates, so it might be worth considering living with other people. Northeastern is also partnered with apartments.com and has a student specific portal within apartments.com that Northeastern students can log in with their Northeastern ID to find these listings. You get a few more listings than you would if you were searching regular apartments.com because we have landlords, property listers that only want to rent to students. In addition, we do a first layer of checking, kind of background checking, vetting these properties to make sure that they are safe for students. Within this portal, there's also a roommate section. In order to access the roommate section, you have to create a roommate profile, and then you can look at kind of all students associated with apartments.com. This includes other universities, not just Northeastern, but you can filter by university as well. It's important to be as detailed as possible in these roommate profiles, just so that there's no roommate conflicts later on. For example, dietary needs, if you have pets, those are common things that you want to be able to list and make sure that anybody you're living with knows about these things. On the database, there's also a list of realtors that Northeastern students commonly work with. We keep this updated every year. We remove any ones with bad reviews and add new ones as they come into the picture. This is a good place to start if you want to hire a realtor, which would help you have a quicker search process if you give them what you need. But the cost is sometimes there might be a broker fee involved. We also manage a Viva Engage community, which is the social media platform for Microsoft. On this community, you will often find last minute temporary housing needs, students that are still looking for roommates or places to live, and sometimes even furniture that's being left behind. We highly recommend browsing the Viva Engage community as well as using the database when you are searching for your apartment. Outside of the database located on our website, we also have a list of homestay programs and temporary housing. These places often give discounts to Northeastern affiliates. Homestays are becoming more and more popular because they're often cheaper. However, they come with kind of a trade off. Students are often asked to do chores like walking dogs, shoveling snow, and they have limited availability to use the kitchen and guest privileges. If this is of interest to you, please visit our website, the temporary housing page, and here is the QR code as well. Logging on to our database right from the get go might be a little bit overwhelming. So, what we recommend is going through a 3 step process first of kind of identifying things that you're going to want to look for in the apartment. The first step is identifying your non negotiables. As I mentioned a little bit before, pets often come into the picture, but other things are also important. If you have a price cap for rent, you and your roommates, if you are going to have roommates, need to discuss these. You also need to discuss what you're going to do for transportation. Are you willing to walk in the winter to Northeastern, or are you willing to commute? Important other factors include dietary restrictions and if you can tolerate other people cooking in the kitchen and other things of that regard. So, the step you want to take first is identifying your non negotiables. The second step after you've identified your non negotiable is to schedule physical or virtual tours. We highly recommend asking for listings without broker's fee if you are going through a realtor or broker. And on the website, due to the law that was passed, if you communicate clearly that you are looking for listings without broker's fee, they have to honor that request. Never transfer any money without doing a tour first. Now, the things to look for those of you that have never been to Boston before, making sure that the doors and windows are properly secured. There are lots of older buildings in the area. Also, making sure you're opening all closets, cabinets, and enclosed areas for any holes in the wall where pests can enter. And then the windows are properly sealed. Boston is a fair weather city, and windows that aren't properly sealed may cause you to have higher gas bills in the winter. Our website, the QR code also on this page, has checklists you can use when doing your apartment tours. And then the final step to get you started on your apartment search process is that third P, the paperwork process. We're going to talk a lot more about this in our second video about renters' rights. But to get you started, you'll want to know about applications, leases, addendum, and apartment condition form. Once again, you should not be paying anything or transferring any money until you see a copy of the lease. That way you know what you're signing up for. Our website also has a realtor check page, a property assessment check page, and Rent Smart Boston that can help identify any issues with the apartment that you are interested in. You should also familiarize yourselves with the clauses jointly liable, subletting, early termination, and utilities. You can always contact our office or schedule a meeting if you want a more in depth look into any paperwork that you have received, but just making sure you read the fine print and know all the details. There are often specific clauses about trash, pets, guests, pests, and landlords needing to enter the unit to show for future prospective clients. You can also use our scam prevention page for any details that look out of the ordinary or maybe a red flag. Students are often first time renters and aren't familiar with the landscape of what to do when talking with realtors or landlords. So, here are some quick negotiation tips. The first thing is you want to do rental research. In order to ask for kind of lower rent, you need to provide statistics, information that could get you that lower rent number or a lower price. The second is making sure that you read all the lease terms to know that there are things that you might not agree with, or if there's fees that can be waived. That way you can ask for that before signing. And the third is making sure that you look at multiple properties. You want to make sure that you're not just signing the first lease that comes across your table. You want to make sure that you're looking at multiple properties, going through multiple realtors, looking at lots of listings on the database. Our team and student community ambassadors write a lot of information that can be found on our website, but also if you sign up for our Husky Tracks newsletter, you get a lot of tips and tricks about the apartment search process. We post a lot of fun recording and reels on our social media as well, and I highly encourage you to follow us. And that's it. You've gotten a crash course on the apartment search process and all the information that our office provides and assists with. As always, though, you can still contact us via phone, email, or visit us in person, or if you want to schedule a virtual booking. We highly recommend using our apartment search toolkit here as well to help you kind of navigate the ins and outs of the apartment search process. Thank you for watching this video and join us for our second video in the series talking about the renter's rights process.